So my voice is still a little shot. I'm a little under the weather, guys, but the show once again must go on. Here are my top 15 best Nintendo Switch 2 games of 2025. Quick rules here, guys. I'm not going to be having games like Nintendo Switch 2 editions like Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild and Kirby, just because those are kind of retreads. Yes, there's some new content, but I'm not having those games in. I'm also putting far more emphasis on actual new games when it comes to titles, but there might be some remakes and re-releases depending on what that game does. So also keep that in mind. Now, there was a lot of games for me to pick from, but I felt that 15 was a solid number to have in the top list here. So, of course, let me know what your top games are for 2025, regardless of platform, in the comment section below. And let's go ahead and jump right into number 15, and that is Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D Remake. And I do admit, I wish I had more time with this game, but the amount of time that I did spend with it, it was fantastic. And it was nice having HD 2D on the Nintendo Switch 2 or on a Nintendo platform that didn't run in 30 FPS, which I still don't understand to this day why HD 2D games on the Nintendo Switch 1 run at 30 FPS. Maybe because I'm not a developer, maybe there's more to it, but either way, it's cool to finally get portable action, HD 2D in 60 FPS, and of course Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D Remake, classic games brought back with the patented art style, and it's fantastic. I love Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D Remake. Dragon Quest 3 last year was great too, and I'm looking forward to finally seeing maybe what Dragon Quest 12 is going to be about. Moving on to the next game, number 14, Split Fiction. Another game, definitely would have loved to spend a bit more time, but the time that I did play it, it was a blast. And I did play it on other platforms as well, so maybe that kind of let me think like, okay, it's not quite as good when it comes to resolution and performance and all of that, but it's a very faithful conversion over to the Nintendo Switch 2, and easily one of the best co-op games ever made. A lot of very innovative ideas, cool stuff that happens. I think a great story, great pacing, and just great gameplay overall. You can tell the developers behind Split Fiction really truly love video games, because you see so many different influences from different genres all kind of put into this one in a great package when it comes to voice acting, music, sound, all of that stuff. It's all kind of on point when it comes to Split Fiction. And honestly, this game, if I never played it before on another platform, or if there wasn't some other games that I just liked more when it comes to what they do, Split Fiction could easily be a Game of the Year candidate or somebody's Game of the Year overall. So Split Fiction makes number 14 on my list. Next up at number 13, Street Fighter 6, another game that I spent some time with and I felt was pretty good overall. I think Street Fighter 6 is one of the best conversions over to the Nintendo Switch 2 from Xbox and PlayStation, and I think that what makes Street Fighter 6 so good is the amount of content that it adds in. It even has some exclusive content when it comes to controls and some modes and things that are on the Nintendo Switch 2. Nothing really too crazy, and it's kind of weird and gimmicky, but it's still awesome that they took the extra time to get that content in there, and the online play is silky smooth. The graphics are on par with what you see on PlayStation 5 and Xbox as well. This is not a bad port. Now, it would have been nice if the single player World Tour mode definitely had that at 60. There's some frame rate stuff there, but if you're talking about the actual real gameplay where you're doing the fights and everything, it's running super nice, locked in 60 FPS. Controls are great as well. Lots of characters to pick from, tons of style. It oozes that old school but also new age style that got people so excited to play Street Fighter 4 back in the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 generation. Great controls, awesome music, great characters, fantastic content, replay value, online play, and just so many things. Plus great sales and deals if you want to get it. It's always kind of discounted on the eShop, so it's a fantastic game, and that's why it makes it in at number 13 on my list. Coming in at number 12, Hollow Knight Silksong. Now, I know this might be lower for some people, but I'll just be honest, guys, I'm not that big of a Souls type of fan, and I just necessarily don't love Hollow Knight structure as much as I love other Metroidvanias. So a game like Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, for example, or even Metroid Dread. Not a Metroidvania, but you guys know what I mean, right? That Metroid style of game. So for me, it's not quite as high, but this game is still really good, and I would not be upset if other people had it higher or disagreed with where I have it overall. What's good about this game? Well, it's got vibes for sure. It's got its own unique art style. It's got its own unique, I would say, way of doing things. The boss battles are vicious. The controls are great. The upgrades and power-ups, I would say, are better than Hollow Knight for sure overall. There's a lot of stuff to do in this game as well. There's a lot of content considering what type of game or the type of game that it is. I think that for a Metroidvania, tons of content in here overall and free DLC incoming as well. So Silksong definitely does a lot of things right overall for me when I was playing the game. Just a few different things that maybe held it back from where I wanted to put it. Some of the run backs in the game were a bit long, but that's okay. It's still a great game with fantastic power-ups, with pretty good sound effects and music and everything. I think the boss battle themes are cool as well. And I would say a very intricate story in terms of how they do their storytelling as well. So Hollow Knight Silksong makes it in at number 12 on my list. Coming in at number 11, Octopath Traveler 0. And I will be the first to tell you guys, this game should be higher. I just didn't have as much time with it as I wanted, but I still think that it's that good. And from what I've seen and from what I've played, Octopath Traveler 0 is a game that I'm going to revisit, especially in 2026, to talk about it more. This game does a lot of cool things. If you're into the Octopath Traveler series, I love the fact that they added a whole row of battling, and I think that makes sense because there's so many more characters in this game than in previous games, so it would kind of suck if you have to constantly cycle out between just 4 characters. The fact that they added another row, which at first I felt, okay, it's going to make it a little bit too easy, but things definitely pick up, and the story is great too overall. The graphics, of course, the HD 2D, it's patented, it's great, it's still just a awesome, I would say, retro look made modern with modern touches here and there. So if you grew up in that era like I did in the 16-bit era of the golden age of JRPGs, this look is great overall. But I think that what Octopath Traveler 0 does great is that it melds so many classic elements of what makes a great RPG into one different thing, and then it has the modern stuff like the Brave and Default system where you can do the extra attacks and all the different types of little things that maybe you didn't see too much in classic RPGs from back then. It does it in this game, so I need to spend more time with it, but it's still good enough. That's how much I respect it in terms of what I've played to put Octopath Traveler 0 up at number 11 on the board. And once again, we will revisit this because it could be higher once I finish it off. But before we get into the top 10, if you're enjoying this video, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, and click that notification bell to get my videos as soon as they drop. All right, let's go and jump into number 10, and that is Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma. And I really like this game. I think it was a bit slept on overall, although it did do okay in terms of reviews. One of the better reviewing Rune Factory games. But for me, I think that the more of the emphasis on the combat in the game and the aesthetics being like the traditional Japanese kind of got me into it more than other Rune Factory games. And Guardians of Azuma is a fantastic title that has great gameplay, great combat, and I would say a lot of cool characters that you can pick from, but all of the other stuff that you love with Rune Factory games. The farming is in there, but it's faster and easier than ever to do the farming stuff, and there's even mouse controls on the Nintendo Switch 2 version of the game. Another thing with Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma is the fact that it actually tells its story in a very cool way. Yes, it can be traditional or more like cliche, I would say, with the whole amnesia and you're the hero and you have to remember your path, but it really does come together towards the end. And there's real consequences when it comes to some of the things that you do or don't do in the game once you get to the climax. So I really enjoyed it, and it's longer than you would expect. I wasn't expecting for me to spend 60, 70 hours in this game, but I definitely did that. And like I said, there's a lot of cool characters, a lot of different powers, cool magic and weapons to collect, and areas and locations to really go through. A quintessential AA JRPG on the Nintendo Switch 2, in my opinion. So Rune Factory, Guardians of Azuma, also with its incredible music too. I really did enjoy some of the tracks in this game. Makes it the number 10 on my list. Coming in at number 9, Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles, another game that could have been higher on my list, although I'm emphasizing more of the newer games. This is a remaster of the classic from the PS1 era, also on the PSP, but Final Fantasy Tactics is no joke. The Ivalice Chronicles, it looks kind of cutesy overall, but do not mistake it for that. This is a serious game when it comes to the story and when it comes to what the gameplay is about. Many still feel that this is one of the better strategy RPGs out there, with games like Fire Emblem, Three Houses, Shining Force, and more, and I would have to agree. Also, you can throw in there Triangle Strategy, one of my favorite strategy RPGs of all time. Final Fantasy Tactics, in my opinion, does not back down to really any of them, because it is a great game. I think that what makes it really good, even to this day, is that its skill and job system is just so intricate. Each player is going to have a different type of experience. Most players are going to do very different things when it comes to building their own characters and how they navigate this game, how they react to what is happening, what type of combat decisions that you make. That's what makes Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles, so good. Definitely missing a few things maybe from those re-releases that would have been nice in this game, but it's still good enough overall as a package for me to have it in my top 10, coming in at number 9. And once again, need to spend more time with it, but it's that good. So if I have something to where I say I need to spend more time, but it still makes it into this list, that's how you know it's a really good game. So Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles, makes the number 9 on my list. Coming in at number 8, Kirby Air Riders, and another game. I've spent some time with this game. I'm not sure if I spent way more time, it would have been higher up considering the other games that I have on this list, but I still think Kirby Air Riders is an absolute blast. Sakurai did a number with this game. He put all that he got into this game in a decent amount of time and put so much content. It is packed, it is brimming, it is bursting at the seams, full of content, full of stickers and weapons and items and modes and different things to do, whether you're playing single player, multiplayer, online, playing co-op with your friends, or anything. There's just so much stuff in this game, and I think that what impresses me the most about it is how well the online seamlessly blends into everything else. You want to hop into the single player, play for a bit, kind of warm up, then get into the online multiplayer, you can do that. You want to run just with your friends on the online multiplayer in a dedicated paddock lobby where you can customize everything that you want and start and stop games when you want, you can do that. Want to unlock things when it comes to your achievement board in multiplayer and in single player, you can do that. Want to jump into any one of those at any time, you can do that. Like, it's one of those games that's thought about the player experience from front to back, side to side. And Sakurai, he's a gamer. He's been playing games for decades, pretty much his whole life, and he knows what makes us tick. And I think that's what makes Kirby Air Riders such an appealing game to play, especially when you're playing online. If you can do voice chat, get into a lobby, play with your friends, this is a blast. It's definitely one of the better multiplayer games that I have ever played, and I'm not trying to cap on that one, guys. It's really good if you have friends to play with. I've played a number of times, and I just had a blast every single time that I played. And plus, it still has some great multiplayer content as well. So Kirby Air Riders makes it in at number 8 on my list. Coming in at number 7, Hades 2, another game, needs some more time, but from everything that I've played overall with this game, Hades 2 is just as good, if not better, than Hades 1. They've added cool new weapons, they've got a great character once again, they've got great voice acting, setups, combat, and they've perfected the style of game that I actually hate when it comes to rogue games. I don't like them, but that's how good Hades 2 is, and Hades 1 is the fact that I will always play these games and give them good ratings, even though I'm not a huge fan of the rogue structure. playing and then dying and going back. Like, I feel it should just be like a mode in a game, not the main thing of the game. But I get it. I understand why they're around. And when done well, like Hades 2, it can make it to where even if you're not a fan of the genre, you might still want to play it. And that's how good Hades 2 is. I've had a blast going through, fighting, getting different types of upgrades, and really perfecting that style of combat that I loved in Hades 1, but even giving you more options, more tools, more weapons, more abilities, and just more ways to have fun in the game. It's very difficult. It's hard to really go through and beat everything, but once you do, you feel like you're on top of the world, just like I felt with Hades 1. So Hades 2 absolutely deserved its super high rating, actually the highest rated new release of 2025 for any platform, even above Clear Obscure Expedition 33. So people love Hades 2. I love Hades 2. I think you might if you check it out. So it makes it to number 7 on my list. Coming in at number 6, Mario Kart World. Now, there's been a lot of controversy with this game when it comes to the $80 price tag for the individual game or the eShop outside of the bundle that apparently is going to go away when it comes to this overall limited time. But I get that. But if you play the game overall, and you're not just simply listening to crazy Sonic fans telling you how bad it is over and over on Twitter, it's actually a lot of fun. It's more than just straight lines. There's a lot of different stuff to do, especially if you're playing with your friends. You can play the 3-lap tracks. You can play the excellent Knockout Tour, which I have to add on here. Knockout Tour is one of the best racing modes that I've ever played in a game, maybe the best racing mode ever. It is incredible. The tension, the, I would say, stress, but also the exhilaration of racing through and seeing, okay, if I don't get this type of placing, I'm out for the game. It's the clutch gene. Like, if you have that clutch gene, if you played sports growing up and you feel like you are pushed to your best when you're in true competition, when it's either make it or lose, like playoff type of nature overall, when all the stakes are kind of on the line, and if you don't get a certain spot, then you're going to be out like a playoff bracket. And I think that's pretty cool. So I love that about Mario Kart World. And let's talk about the music in the game. Like I said, not a perfect game whatsoever when it comes to the open world structure. Some of the single player stuff could have been handled better. They're rolling out patches, but man, the music is bumping. There's so many different tracks. There's so many different remixes. It really makes booting up the game and hearing something like, oh man, I haven't heard that in a hot minute. Oh, but wait a minute. It sounds incredible now at this point. So many different tracks, so many different things to listen to, and it really just helps the vibe of the game and really makes it feel fresh. Music is super important, especially in a kart racer, because what you're doing is you're kind of just holding down a button, just moving, right? And you're trying to throw items and stuff like that, but you need to have those vibes to really set the tone and atmosphere, and Mario Kart World does that in spades. Plus, it also has the best controls, handling, and just gameplay, pure raw gameplay of any Mario Kart game ever. Yes, it doesn't have as much content right now as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but it's also just starting out, and I'm pretty sure they're going to add it. Whereas Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was 10 plus years in the making from the Wii U. So to me, it feels, in terms of the gimmick and the controls and the gameplay, much better than any other Mario Kart game that I've played. And that's why I have it up this high, because it just is a blast to play. I think the amount of control that you have with the grinding, the wall riding, and all of the different types of tricks and shortcuts that you can do that I'm still not good enough to do, but I see the potential and I feel it in the controls and how tight that it is. That's what makes Mario Kart World so fun to play, and why it makes the number 6 on my list. All right, getting into the top 5 here, guys. Let's start out at number 5, and that is Trails in the Sky First Chapter. I'm still going through this one, but I'm getting deeper and deeper into the game, and this is exquisite. And a lot of people talk about Nintendo not having a Xenoblade game in the first calendar year of the Nintendo Switch 2, like we got with Xenoblade Chronicles 2 on the Nintendo Switch 1. And yeah, I agree. It's definitely not fun not having in the calendar year. I know it's coming with Monolith Soft. It's not fun having that, but this is the next best thing, and I would even say Trails in the Sky First Chapter exceeds Xenoblade Chronicles 2 in many different areas, while adding in elements from a lot of the best RPGs ever made. The Persona series, all-out attacks, different types of things you can do, positioning where your characters are, action RPG combat transitioning into turn-based combat, like Metaphor Refantasio, for example. There's so many different things in its DNA, from games that are incredible, from Xenoblade, Persona, Metaphor Refantasio, and classic RPGs, all with their own signature style and grace, with their own magic system, combat, and story that honestly is up there. One of the better stories. I'm getting into the thick of it now that I've been spending a lot more time playing games towards the end of the holiday. And man, Trails in the Sky first chapter is phenomenal. Heck, if I would have beat it before I was able to get this video, maybe it's higher on this list. And honestly, any of these top 5 games, depending on when I'm playing them, you can rearrange them to some degree, because they all have such high highs and not a ton of low lows. Some lows here and there, but not a lot of them. But Trails in the Sky first chapter is fantastic. This is the best AA style of JRPG on the market at this point, and it's one of the best remakes that I have ever played in my life, and it absolutely deserves its number 5 spot on my list, and honestly could have been higher. Next up at number 4 is Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. And maybe this is a little bit of a controversy. Metroid Prime 4 at number 4. I get it for some people maybe not liking the game, but for me, this was the most fun that I've had with the Metroid Prime game maybe ever. Now, is it the best Metroid Prime game? Sure, anybody can debate whether it is or not, but for me, this is the most fun that I've had with Metroid Prime. And here's the reason why I say that. It has the best control options for any Metroid Prime game that I have ever played. The controls in this game are incredible. You have the classic lock-on controls, you have dual analog controls, you have mouse mode controls, you have a fusion of dual analog and gyro controls. There's so many different ways that you can play this game, and when I was playing through the game overall, I had a blast fighting the different types of pirates. There's the different grievers that you can fight, the different Cybots that are in there, tons of great boss battles as well. And the only thing that I would say, which I understand what some other people are saying about this game, is that I wish that they handled some of the open world better with the green crystals and with the Viola bike, in addition to maybe having a bit more content in there. Those are the lows of the game, but the highs in terms of how great it looks graphically, it looks absolutely incredible. This might be Nintendo's best looking game of all time. Runs at 4K 60 or 120 FPS, and one of the few first person shooters that didn't get me nauseous. This one, maybe it's because of the 120 FPS. So from a technical level, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is by far the most impressive game on this list, and one of the more impressive games when it comes to overall. It runs flawless in portable or in docked mode, and the music to me stood out so much. I love the music in Volt Forge. That was great. Fury Green. There's so many tracks that just stick out to me in this game. You combine that with superb boss design as well. Silence was great, and honestly, I like the Galactic Federation troopers. I liked that they were there, that they were in some of the missions. I know not everybody loves that, but I thought it was cool, and I thought that it added a new dynamic to the game that was kind of missing in some of the games. Now, I can admit that, yeah, maybe the level structure isn't as good as Metroid Prime 1, or maybe some people love the dual structures of the light and dark world Metroid Prime 2, but for me, Metroid Prime 4 hit a lot of the things that I would like to see, and they just need to refine it for Metroid Prime 5. Take what they already have. They've got a great system. They've got everything that they need in terms of controls and graphics and everything. Improve upon it, make it Switch 2 only, and say Metroid Prime 5 in the next 3 to 4 years. And I think that game is going to be even better. But I loved my time with Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. I love fighting Silence. I love the controls. I love the story. I thought it was really good. Despite some issues here and there, I still felt Metroid Prime 4 was a great experience. Not perfect, some lows that could drag the experience down, but the highs of the controls, graphics, gameplay, and just feel and vibe with the music, to me, made it a lot of fun. More fun to play than other Metroid Prime games. So that's why Metroid Prime 4 is in at number 4. All right, coming in at number 3 is Pokemon Legends ZA. And yes, I know graphics aren't the best in this game. Flat wall textures and windows. But when you peel back some of that and when you just get into the world and the combat, this is a successful transition for the first time ever with a mainline game. And yes, Pokemon Legends ZA is a mainline game. This is the first successful transition to action RPG combat with some nice cooldowns a la Xenoblade mixed in there as well. So for me, I love the amount of customization and options that you can do with your Pokemon in this game. And I'll also say this, the story takes a little bit of time to kind of get going, but once it gets going and when you see the conclusion, it was one of the best ending sequences ever in a Pokemon game, for me at least. I love that. And if you like Pokemon X and Y and the story of AZ and kind of what happened, this one is emotional, man. Like, I didn't tear up, but man, I felt a certain way after I beat the game. So for me, I love that about Pokemon Legends ZA. It does have online multiplayer, which I kind of fell off on. I just kind of did it a bit so I can get some of the different Mega Evolution stones. But speaking of the Mega Evolutions, that's the best gimmick ever that Pokemon has ever done when it comes down to it at all. They've had all sorts of Dynamaxing and turning terrestrializing or whatever that was in Scarlet and Violet. But for me, the best ever gimmick is Mega Evolutions. It's cool, it's sleek, it looks good, it's fun, it powers it up enough, it seems like it's balanced enough at times too. So for me, Mega Evolutions just make this game better overall, but the performance of the game running on the Nintendo Switch 2, we cannot necessarily ignore or skip that. There was a disaster when it comes to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet when that originally launched on the Nintendo Switch 1 in 2022. So some people were claiming that there'd be a repeat of that on Pokemon Legends ZA, but that was not the case. We got this game and it runs really good, 60 FPS. If you're playing it on the Nintendo Switch 2, loads pretty fast as well. And the music is also incredible. And once again, the story kind of comes together. The combat is very fun. I like the amount of Pokemon in there. Wish there was a bit more, but it's not bad for an action RPG and doing all of that. It's very addictive when it comes to the gameplay. So I enjoyed that, putting out my team. And there's a variety of different Pokemon across different generations. So no matter where you kind of came in at when it comes to what you like with Pokemon, you'll probably find Pokemon that you like and enjoy using overall. So put around 70 hours into it before I beat the game, and I did some more in multiplayer as well. So Pokemon Legends ZA makes it number 3 on my list. Coming in at number 2, Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. And man, I really had to think about this because Age of Imprisonment does everything that I loved about Age of Calamity, but says, hey, let's have an actual playable frame rate. And that was the big issue with Age of Calamity, even though it was like my favorite game in 2020. And I love that game because I love Breath of the Wild and I love the story and everything. But the frame rate was just terrible. It was just a terrible frame rate. And they fixed it. And not only did they fix it, they added a bunch of cool characters. They added a great story looking back to the imprisoning war and looking back and seeing and kind of filling out some of the missing spots with Tears of the Kingdom from a story perspective. And unlike Age of Calamity, which is an alternate story based on the Calamity Wars, so you can kind of say, well, is it canon? Is it not? Maybe not. This one is legitimately canon, and you see what happens. You see the imprisoning war, you see what happens, you see why Princess Zelda just didn't tell Rauru and Princess Sonia what's happening with Ganon. You see why that finally was a thing. So it kind of makes it like, okay, I understand with that. But ultimately, it's about the gameplay in this game. It's about the music in this game. Koei Tecmo, Nintendo, because there was about 20 plus staffers that worked on this game from the Zelda team to make sure everything was accurate. They knocked it out of the park. The combat in this game is incredible. A variety of different weapons, so many different characters to use overall. But for me, the Knight Construct and King Rauru were some of the highlights, along with Princess Zelda. You're going to build unique, different types of playstyles for each character that you end up using or that you ultimately like. And there's so many different side quests to do. There's so much content overall. There's so many different post-game stuff to do after you've beaten the game. And just like Pokemon Legends ZA, this game has an ending sequence that will leave your jaw on the floor. I was like, oh my gosh, this ending sequence is freaking lit. It is so good. So for me, Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment was an incredible experience. I love the gameplay, love the different counters and options that you have in combat, and how different the characters feel from one after the other. Even some of the generic kind of filler in characters of Gerudo Warriors or different types of Rito or Gorons, those are fun to use too. And I will say this, the actual main sages, they're incredible. All of them are so much fun to use overall, and I love the sync skills and the sync attacks and just playing through the game and the counters and different types of zonai attacks that you can do. There's just so many different things. I can take forever talking about this game. Like, I can take 30 to 40 minutes just discussing how much stuff that I love about this game, and the fact that it runs good. It runs good, has a great story, music is fantastic. I love Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. And really the only negative thing that you can say is kind of some of the structure. It's kind of not evolved from what we got with Age of Calamity or other Warriors games. It would have been nice to have some other things. But I will say this, they did add in some really cool elements with these Star Fox levels. I love that they said, hey, we're going to do Sky, we're going to do Hyrule, and we're going to do Depths overall. Speaking of Depths, Minoru, she's awesome as well. But the Sky parts with the Night Construct and Calamo, where it's like Star Fox gameplay, okay, that's super cool. And I don't know why this game, honestly, I'm looking at it compared to Age of Calamity. I don't know why this game is rated barely better than Age of Calamity. It's a lot better than Age of Calamity, especially with those Star Fox levels, with the boss battles, with the frame rate being playable. And I've also played a ton of multiplayer, and it doesn't run at 3 frames per second like Age of Calamity runs if you do split screen. It actually runs at a solid 30 FPS, maybe with some dips when things get too crazy, but it adjusts itself. So for me, Age of Imprisonment, number 2 best game for me when it comes to Switch 2 in 2025. And in at number 1, Donkey Kong Bonanza. I think all of you guys can guess, considering where we've led to this point. Donkey Kong Bonanza was the quintessential release in 2025 for the Nintendo Switch 2. It showed that Nintendo can still do some crazy innovative things in a franchise that's old. That's like 40 years old with Donkey Kong and Mario and different characters, but then add in new fresh twists with Pauline in a story that nobody saw coming, with power-ups that nobody saw coming, with transformations that was not in any other game, and they just made Donkey Kong Bonanza into this spectacle of a game. Especially, once again, with these games, I think that for me, ending sequences are super important. Obviously the whole game is important, but man, the ending sequence in Donkey Kong Bonanza is mind-blowing. I think it might be the best ending sequence out of any of the Nintendo Switch 2 first-party games for this year, but the ending sequence is so good, and what they do in this game, obviously, if you're a Donkey Kong fan, you don't want to miss this one. If you played the old school games, you don't want to miss this one. If you love action adventure games, you don't want to miss this one. If you love innovative, destroy all things like Hulk Ultimate Destruction or just causing havoc, you don't want to miss this one. It's got incredible controls. You can bash anything, and I think that it truly shows what Donkey Kong is about. Donkey Kong in the previous games, I said this before on my live streams, he's a wimp. He gets hit 1 or 2 times, he goes running off. In Bonanza, that's not the case. You are a powerful monkey, ape thing, whatever you are, and you are destroying things. You are showing your true power, just smashing things to bits overall. And it's super innovative when it comes down to it. There's these different transformations all kind of tie into not only speedrunning and getting through the game in terms of what you can do, but also cool platforming parts as well, with Pauline right there alongside you the whole way, adding in different types of flavor and context, fully voiced as well when it comes to the cutscenes. So for me, Donkey Kong Bonanza did so many things right, with the music, with the gameplay, with the story, with the ending sequence, with just everything overall. And the only issue really when it comes to this game is some of the frame rate drops, for me at least, when it comes to using one of the power-ups. If you do that too much, kind of slows down the frame rate a bit, and some of the boss battles, depending on what's happening on screen, can kind of get a little bit of slowdown. But the controls, in terms of your own controls, it doesn't seem like there's lag or anything, so you can still play through it. It's not like it's going to cause you to lose or anything like that. So for me, it was one of those things that I wish that it was a bit better overall, but it's one of those that doesn't necessarily affect your ability to play and beat the game. And I would say the post game, just like the other games in the top 3 at least here, the post game is immaculate. There's a lot of stuff to do, go back and collect, a lot of challenges as well. So I had a blast going through that. Donkey Kong Bonanza, real deal, highest rated Nintendo Switch 2 first party game of 2025. And I felt that, to me at least, it was one of the games that needed to be celebrated. Overall, it does so many great things, and there's a co-op mode in the game too. So if you have a friend or family member, son, whatever the case is, daughter, niece, nephew, you can play, and it's still somewhat significant overall. And I think that that's important, because I played Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. I played a ton of that with my nephew, and he loved it. Building these type of co-op experiences that can be easily shared local, pass a Joy-Con, have another controller, whether you have Joy-Cons from Switch 1 or Pro controllers or whatever you have in combinations, and having easy pick up and play local multiplayer, to me, adds a nice dynamic to the game. So Donkey Kong Bonanza absolutely makes it in as my number one Nintendo Switch 2 game of 2025. So what are your top 15 best games of 2025? What do you think I left off this list that should have been on here? I want to hear what you guys have to say. There's so many cool games that came out first and third party wise. It was a blast to really just kind of play this, revisit, and do a lot of actual playing of the games to put this list together, because I've been so busy overall. So those are my top 15 games. What are your top 15? What are your top 10? What are your top 25? What are your favorite games and why? Please let me know in the comment section below. And make sure you check out my other top 25 and big Nintendo list videos right here on screen, like the top 25 RPGs that you should be playing on the Nintendo Switch 1, or even this other top list right here. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.